I'm going to tell you absolutely everything that you need to know about assisted living facilities so you can decide if they're a good option for your parent. Hi there, I'm Sophia, and I'm bringing you new videos every Tuesday to help you be a more successful, more satisfied, and more informed family caregiver. Are you thinking that your parent needs more than they're getting at home? Maybe they need more care, more assistance, more socialization, or just more watchful eyes on them throughout the day. And if you're not quite sure what the right level of care is or what your options are, then you're going to like this video. Today, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about the option of assisted living. Many people think that if their parent's not able to get the level of care that they need at home, that the next step is a nursing home. Well, in actuality, there is a step in between, and that would be an assisted living facility. An assisted living facility is kind of a beautiful blend of living in a home environment with all your own familiar things around you, but also getting assistance with the care that you think that maybe you can only find in a nursing home. Assisted living facilities exist in every state. They're licensed and regulated in most states. There are a few states that are not regulated, but for most of them, there is a standard of care that they must adhere to. Here are some quick facts about assisted living. They usually have at least 20 residents and can be up to 200 or 300 residents. So there's a wide variety of size. So you're going to want to look at more than one in your area to get a feel for them. The actual facilities can be sprawling one-story buildings, or they can be 2 or 3 stories high, which is pretty common, or they can also be high-rise apartment buildings. You're also going to find a big range in appearance. Some might be quite modest and homey, while others can be really fancy. And there will be a modest or fancy price that goes along with those. Some facilities will cater to a particular cultural population and may offer activities, menu items, and spiritual support that are geared toward that culture, in addition to the regular things that they offer. Some facilities are also pet-friendly. So each is going to have its own personality depending on the staff who work there, the management, as well as the other residents. So just because your parent went to one and they didn't like the feel of it, doesn't mean that they might not like the feel of the next one. Smaller facilities have a much different feel than a larger community, and you should look at different types to try to find the right match for your parent. The great thing about assisted living is that not only do they encourage and promote independence physically, but also in the choices that they can make in their activities. There's so many different things that they can choose to do or not do, such as exercise classes or games and outings. They can go to the library or participate in the resident council. They get to choose their meals. They get to choose to stay in their apartment or go into the common areas and socialize and be around other people. Another benefit of assisted living is that they can accommodate many of the changing needs of your parent. Your parent can move in while they're completely independent and don't need any assistance with care. And if a day comes when they start to need some help with their personal care, such as bathing or toileting or changing their clothes, then the services are right there and your parent can start getting care right away. Assisted living generally is a long-term solution. It's not a place that your parent would go to for just a little while. They can usually stay until a day might come that their needs progress to the point that assisted living can no longer meet their needs. The exception to this, however, is that many assisted living facilities do offer short-term respite services if they have a room available. If you'd like to take a break or go on a short vacation. So you'd need to plan this ahead of time, however, because you're still going to need to go and fill out all the paperwork, have the doctor fill out forms, and make sure that your parent has a TB test done. So it's not something that can be done on the spur of the moment. But using the facility for a respite stay is a really great way for your parent to get a feel for the facility, since they're going to be able to use all the services that are there while they're there on their short stay. You might be wondering what to expect on the inside of an assisted living facility. Well, there's different types of rooms that might be available. You might be able to find, to get a shared room, which would have 2 beds and a bathroom, and your parent would share that space with another resident. This would be the least expensive option. You might also have the option of a private room with a shared bathroom. My dad, when he had an apartment that had a small living room and also a separate small bedroom, it also had a small kitchenette. So some facilities might also have larger suites available that might include 2 bedrooms and a living room. Some might be fancier and have a fireplace or a bigger kitchen or a larger dining area. When I was looking around for a place for my dad, the rooms looked so small, and I wondered how on earth was he going to fit all of his belongings in there. But I quickly found out that when a senior is having difficulty with mobility or going to the bathroom a lot, the smaller units could be a better choice, because it means walking less, which means the likelihood of them falling is less. The smaller spaces also turn out to be okay because your parent's going to be out of the room a lot of the time during the day, down at the dining room and activities room and socializing. Just about all the facilities that I saw have a common family room area that families can come and sit in while they come to visit. Some assisted livings have a separate unit for memory care. This is a more secured area where they might have extra precautions to prevent your parent from wandering out. They might have staff who are more sensitive to the needs of dementia and Alzheimer's patients, and they know how to deal with behavior issues that your parent might have. But they're still going to have the services available to them that all the other residents have. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost. The cost is going to vary significantly from facility to facility. The average cost across the United States is about $3,700 a month. Here in Southern California, where I live, I found the range starting to be around $2,500, and you can find them as high as $8,000 or $10,000 a month. When I was looking for an assisted living facility for my dad, I did my research ahead of time, made a spreadsheet, and I called each one up and you asked them what kind of rooms do they have available, how much does each room cost, and what is the cost of each of the additional services. What I did come to find out is that, at least with the big chain assisted livings, the price that they quote you over the phone is not necessarily the price that you're going to end up with in a good way for once. I often found that they have a special of the month, and they don't tell you that until they think that you're pretty serious about moving in. So their specials might change from month to month. For instance, the price that I was quoted for my dad was $3,525 for an independent person who used no services, but the special of the month was $1,000 off forever. So that became $2,525 forever. Another special was to get a 1-bedroom apartment for the price of a studio. So act as if you're really serious about moving in and ask if they have any specials that might be coming up. If it's right before the end of the month, ask what the specials would be if you waited until the beginning of the next month, and see which is a better deal for you and your parent. Every assisted living that I called, which was about 20 of them in my area, have what they called a community fee. Essentially, it's like a deposit that you had to pay. Ours was $2,000, which seemed to be the going rate in our area. This fee covered all the paperwork and the initial assessments that their staff need to do on your parent. So add that to your cost of moving in. Some of it was refunded when we moved out, so ask about that also. Included in your base rent would usually be 3 meals a day in a group dining room, snacks, recreational and spiritual activities, outings, exercise and wellness programs, laundry of the linens and housekeeping, and arrangement of transportation. The additional services that you'll pay extra for are pretty standard across facilities, and these would include assistance with personal care such as bathing, grooming, dressing, toileting, and eating. They also provide medication management and assistance if your parent needs help taking their medications. When my dad moved in, he was completely independent. After about a year, he started getting weak and falling, and we had to add on services, and this is where the price really can jump up. Every different service has an additional cost. For instance, when he needed help with showering, they wanted an extra couple of $100 a month for that. And when he started getting confused because of his medications and could no longer take his own, then they charged an extra $400 a month. His escorts to and from the dining room were another additional charge. So it really started to add up, and in the end, that $25.25 rent ended up being about $4,000 a month once services were added on. So that's just to give you an idea of the cost of rent and services. They might be different in your area, and be sure to call and get information. I know all these services sound super expensive, but when you think about it, there's actually been studies done that found that living in a reasonably priced assisted living can actually be more cost effective than trying to keep your parent at home. When living at home, they have expenses of maintaining the house and paying the mortgage and taxes and insurance and utilities and food, and add in the cost of having to hire an in-home caregiver for your parent. So it can actually be less expensive for them to move into an assisted living. And speaking of cost, people often ask if insurance pays for the cost of assisted living, and the answer is usually not. Medicare never pays for assisted living. If your parent is on Medicaid or Medi-Cal, then they generally don't pay for assisted living. However, many states do have an assisted living waiver for the Medicaid recipients, so you'd need to contact your Office of Aging in your area to find out if your state has available an assisted living waiver program. The thing about the waiver is that if you qualify and are given a waiver, then you need to agree to live in certain counties, because not all counties within your state will participate in the waiver program. And within that county, you're going to need to agree to live in certain facilities that accept that waiver and that have a room available, because there's often a waiting list. So while you're limited, however, it is definitely a possibility for your Medicaid to pay for assisted living in some areas. Other than this, no, insurance does not pay for assisted living. If you have more questions about how to pay for assisted living, I highly recommend that you take a look at this video to find out some creative ways to pay for long-term care. If you found this video informative, then please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time.